Watch and learn, baby.
Hello everyone, Gene Molina here from Natural Tennis Solutions. So welcome to the website. I am going to talk about today the most fundamental thing that we can do for our ground strokes. So there is one more fundamental before that, which is our tracking skills, but I'm not getting into that right now. But just know, if you have good tracking skills, you're gonna be able to locate where the ball is gonna land, how much spin it has, how much speed it has, how much height it's gonna come off of the court with, and you should be able to get into a balanced position to hit the ball and transfer your weight. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the transfer of weight. Not many of us do it. We get a little bit lazy with it and we kind of just use Old Faithful, which is the arm, instead of getting ourselves to position to hit the ball with some weight going into it. Back in the day, they would say step into the ball. Step into the ball is it. It's about stepping into the ball, right? It gets a little bit of a forward motion. But transferring weight is different than stepping into the ball because you want to get the actual weight of your body on the back foot a little bit so that it can go into the front foot and it will move the hips forward in a linear motion. So now linear has kind of gone away from tennis, but it's the initial way that you should learn how to hit a ball. So from a neutral stance, you go into your setup where you're going to try to transfer the weight and go into the shot with the hips staying aligned. That way there's not too much rotation. Now there will be rotation, so don't get away from that. But just to let you know, if you're gonna use your legs to transfer weight, that is what needs to happen. So I'll get into some samples. We'll talk a little more in detail about it. And this will definitely make a big difference in a lot of your games. All right, so here we go. We're going to try to start out with some pieces that we can try to start to understand what this transfer is going to need. So tennis ball coming at me from this direction here. If I want to get my body weight into it, I don't want to go and lead with the front foot. I want to make sure I put some weight into the back foot. So I get my weight distributed to come back to the back leg. I am trying to get it to go more on the inside of my foot rather than anything else. So the inside of my foot is what should have most of the weight on it. So it's almost like this part of my foot would be up. So I would get a little bit of that, but not exactly, because that's a little tweaky on the knees. But just imagine that concept where you're putting your weight back more on this leg and on the inside so that my knee doesn't line up with my toe. It actually lines up a little bit inside of the toe. So that weight goes in there. So ball's coming at me. I'm in my ready position. Ball's coming. I set up and I load. So I'm getting that set up here so that I can push this way. So if you notice, I pushed this way so that I can get some transfer going up. It goes up there. So that upward transfer, if done with the timing of the racket being in the right place, which I will get into in other videos, will get you to transfer your weight into this racket without having to stress and get a lot of tension into your arm. Remember, we're trying to avoid this. We're trying to avoid this. We want to get into the part of getting the legs down so we can transfer forward and get that. So now once I understand that ball's coming at me, I'm setting up, I'm loading this, now I push forward and I try to keep this sideways for as long as I can, and then this will come around, if it comes around. Because if I do it very slowly and with not too much knee bend, it's gonna go down and here, and that's it, right? So here and here. So I don't even come forward. Now, the more I push off, though, the more chance there is of coming forward. So just realize if I push off more, then there is more of a chance to come off. So just realize there are different speeds. And everyone should try to do this with a nice, easy speed. So the speed becomes your weapon. You start with the fundamental speed, which is slow. So you get the weight on the back foot and you come up and you hit the ball. And maybe the back foot kind of slides a little bit, just comes up. And this swing should be nice and controlled. So getting that transfer of weight in, this is more of a linear part of the shot now. So it's not a rotational part. People will start to say, yeah, but there's no linear part of the game anymore. Well, there is. And here's the biggest part. So you start to get yourself into a neutral stance, correct? This neutral stance is much harder to get into than the semi or the open. We get so lazy thinking that the semi and the open are the end all, but it really is the neutral that's going to let you know how to transfer your weight into the shot. Because on the semi, I can't really transfer forward as much. On the semi, I can transfer a lot up. I can transfer a little forward, but it's really the neutral that lets you learn how it feels to go into this shot. So that will be the sample there with the transfer step. All right, so I'm going to throw in a backhand part of this so that you can see the transfer from the backhand side. So off of the two-hander and the one-hander should make a difference, but I'll show off the two-hander. So ball's coming at me, I'm setting up, and I'm trying to put the weight on the back foot, remember the inside part of the foot, so I can push off and get that swing to go. I'm trying to let my arms kind of just get guided by this push off. I'm trying to really go through and let everything just get pushed forward. And if you can see, my hip starts here and it ends up forward. It ends up here. It's not staying back here. So I'm not just swinging here where the hip stays there. One-handed version. There. Coming back. Pushing off. Back. Pushing off. Just as long as there's some forward motion, you feel that motion, you'll be all right with the transfer. So what I'll do now is I'm going to have Jeremy hit me some shots, and oh yeah, Jeremy's over there. And what I'll do is I will try to demonstrate a little bit of this forward motion with the transfer off the backhand side. So what's happening now is I'm really trying to get the feel of, I'm having him feet a little shorter. I'm trying to get the feel of getting myself to go forward. And as you can tell, I'm taking a very long stride. So sort of an exaggeration, you know, but in order to get things to feel right, you have to exaggerate. So I get myself to make a long stride because I really want to feel how smooth it is. It's got to be smooth. If it's not smooth, then it's no good. You don't want to be rushing, because look at what happens to the racket. So if it's smooth, then the racket will be smooth. If it's not smooth, then you're taking your chances on still using your arm. So making the weight back here. If I actually set up and I'm in my neutral stance, I can actually come back and get a little bit on my toe. So from the toe, now I know I feel the weight back here. I feel it. And then I can push off to actually go forward. So the weight on that back foot and this one on its toe, I can definitely feel I'm not putting as much weight here, and it's mostly on this leg. Remember, inside of that foot. So it's on the inside of that foot and I'm ready to push off to go forward. Biggest thing here becomes knowing how to get from this position to here, to get to that neutral. All right, I'm gonna have them hit a few that are a little deeper now. Got it. So I have to back up a little and then go in. Back up a little and then go in. Back up and then stride. Back up, stride. So what I'm trying to do is I'm really trying to fight for position. This fighting for position is the most important thing you can do. This is the big secret of good footwork, in my opinion. Good footwork comes from people that are going to fight to get into a balanced position to transfer their weight into the shot. If you don't, then you're going to end up doing what you normally do, which is hitting with the arm. Now, one of the key factors here is transferring weight equals you having a choice of what to hit. Not transferring weight equals you having to be defensive or neutral, but the offense really comes from having transfer, getting the weight into the shot. Fight for position. All right, here are a few forehands. Here we go. So there, I'm doing a one leg. Go ahead, give me a couple more. I'm getting my one leg on, one leg, and forward. And that'll really make you feel this transfer. One leg, forward. One leg, forward. And that's it. One leg, forward. If that one leg is in, you'll really start to feel what it's supposed to be like to actually get in. Fighting for position. Remember, if you can really tell where the ball is going to land, where you need to be, put that leg where it needs to be and push off, you're going to really start to feel this. I'll have them hit a couple deeper ones and then we'll see what happens there. A little deeper. So I have to back up a little, and then still try to get in. So if I can fight for it, I will. If I can't get it, then I won't. I'm backing up and I'm still going forward. There, I didn't have to back up as much. Let's do one more. I backed up, fight. So that becomes it. If you cannot transfer, then what you'll do is defend or neutralize. Shot selection becomes a big part, right? So if I can't get myself to set up in the position that I'm balanced and I know I can hit it, then I'm going to transfer or neutralize or defend. That's really what it comes down to. Knowing when to hit what. If you fight for your position, you have the right to go for it. But if you don't, then the decision to go for it might not be the right one. Some people might be able to make it once in a while, but if you don't have the position and the balance, that's going to be one of the keys. All right, so one more thing I wanted to mention. In the Spanish way that they teach everyone to go from neutral stance, always neutral stance, because this is the hardest stance to get into when you're fighting for position. So they could teach the semi and they could teach the open, but those are easier. It makes you a little lazier. Get into the neutral position, fight for your position, load that back leg, and transfer into the shot. You're going to see how difficult it is to try to get every single ball. I don't care where the ball is hit, you try to transfer into the ball. Good luck. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.